To take this further, we are being joined by Matthew Droin, live from Washington, D.C. He's a visiting fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Mr. Droin, thank you so much for joining us here on WION. I want to take you back to a quote from February 2022. Then Chairperson of the Joint Chief of Staff, General Mark Milley, had said, and I'm quoting him, Kiev could fall within 72 hours if a full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine takes place. It has been 2 years, Mr. Droin. Do you think Ukraine just defending itself from Russia is enough at this stage?
Well, at least for the good, the quote has been proven wrong by Ukrainian bravery, and I think as Volodymyr Zelensky just said recently, Ukraine is in a much better position now, 2 years in the conflict, than it was at the beginning of the operation. And of course, the first days of the conflict have been decisive to put Ukraine on a path of resistance to Russian invasion. And so now, as we see where the conflict stands, is that we are in a so-called war of attrition. Now we see that Russia is back on the advance on the front line, but broadly speaking, there is no major breakthroughs, and this is pretty much a very undecided battle, and that is probably set to be here for quite a long time in the future.
Quite a long time, you say, and the West has said it before, as long as it takes, they will support Ukraine. But we see what's happening in terms of the military and financial aid. The question is, how long can it actually sustain?
Well, of course, and as you mentioned, there is this issue, this debate about the sustainability of the U.S. support, mainly because it has been the most decisive on the battlefield. And we're talking about $60 billion of military aid that is now withheld in the U.S. Congress.
Right.
And so the Europeans are doing their best to step up. The thing is that they have largely emptied their shelves, which were not so garnished due to years of underinvestment. But I think there have been clear signals, even in the past few days. You have seen that the EU Commission President plus several heads of state were in Kyiv for the anniversary. Now, as we speak, there are dozens of leaders gathering in Paris to show that Ukraine fatigue is not there. There is still a commitment to support them. It's just that putting a whole continent with 30s of countries on a war footing takes time. You need the industries to be back for production. And so, yes, this takes time. But I think war fatigue is not there in Europe, at least.
All right. Mr. Droin, it's interesting you say that. But speaking of the West, it had positioned its sanctions as one of the weapons against Russia. But Moscow's economy is booming right now. This year, the country is expected to grow faster than the United States, Germany, France, or even the United Kingdom. Was this a miscalculation on West's part?
Well, I think it depends if you see the glass half full or half empty. Of course, what you mentioned about Russia's economy is telling that sanctions alone cannot prevent Russian economy to progress. But let's figure out what would be the situation had the sanctions not been there. I mean, they certainly have had an impact on Russia military-industrial complex in getting some spare parts. So it definitely hampered the Russia war effort. But of course, it cannot stop Russian economy, broadly speaking.
All right, Mr. Droin, thank you so much for joining us here on WION and getting us all those insights.
Thanks for having me.